This is Afroeconomics with J.B. Bryan. Afroeconomics is a strategic financial management program designed for the advancement of Black wealth in America and abroad. Politics and your money, that's what we're talking about today. Money plays a role in politics, but don't allow politics to impact your money. That's my point today. That, hey, of course, money is important to politics, but make sure that you establish a mindset that I have to make money regardless of who's in the White House. There's just no way around it. We have 8 years of a political party in the White House. You have to realize that you still need to make money during those 4 or 8 years or whatever the time period is. You have to establish a mindset that I have to make money through all different political atmospheres, whoever's in the White House. I'm going to establish a strategy that I can continue to move my financial plan forward. Well, that's my job. That's what I have to do for my clients, that I don't want them to operate in an atmosphere of fear when it comes to their money. So be careful when you're approached by your financial advisor and they're telling you because of this particular this particular political position or this particular time in politics, you need to do this or that. So that is not a financial strategy to develop your financial goals according to who gets voted in. So let's talk about how there is indeed so much negative political news. I heard on one major radio station the other day, the announcer said that the world is going to end anyway, so don't worry about it. And I'm like, oh my goodness. How can you make financial decisions when you think the world's going to end? In reality, if the world's going to end, then none of us need to worry about anything. We don't even need to go to work tomorrow. So we know that we have no control over when God decides to end the world. So let's move forward based on, yes, that the world is going to be here tomorrow and I'm going to retire one day and I have to make sure that my children are educated and that I eat, okay? Let's stay in a positive place. But it's amazing when you have someone that has such massive exposure and they say something that negative, it can stifle you in making proper and good financial decisions. So let's talk about the bottom line is don't allow politics to impact your long-term financial goals. So when we look at the research, which political party actually helps your pocketbook the most? Hey, so which one? Which one? Well, the truth is there's no empirical evidence to show that either one of them actually help you the most. So you have to make sure that you look out for yourself. That's the bottom line, that there's buying opportunities, there's growth potential in each political party when they're in the White House. We just have to structure your financial decisions accordingly. So here's what I suggest that you do to protect yourself during any White House, no matter who the political party is. First, avoid making emotional financial decisions. Avoid making emotional financial decisions. I could just do the next 20 minutes talking about avoiding making emotional financial decisions. A second point is to always have a well-diversified investment portfolio across all asset classes anyway. That's what we talk about. So make sure that you're well-diversified so that regardless of who is in there, regardless of what happens, we never know what's going to happen. I have my career lived through 9/11 and the Great Recession that they call it. I have had my firm through all of that. I didn't decide to get out of financial services because, oh my goodness, the market is doing terrible. I didn't allow all of my clients to run for the hills and call them and say, this is the end of the world. No, actually, I had to make sure prior to all of that that their portfolios were positioned for these type of changes. That's what good financial advice would entail. Not calling you and saying, we got to sell everything because this happened. No, and then you have to go back and buy everything all over again, which is possibly, the worst thing. So you're buying at these huge losses when you have to make sure that you prepare your portfolio for short-term volatility. It has to be positioned accordingly to really your risk tolerance. There's some people who love the stock market to tumble, would be excited about that because what? They have a good cash position and they look at it as a buying opportunity. So let's make sure that you're well diversified, including having some money available in cash so that you can buy things when the buying opportunities come available. Always have an emergency fund. Now, I'm talking about during how to deal with any political party and getting this fear out of the way and knowing that regardless of who's in the White House, we need to have a good emergency fund, that have at least 3 months of our expenses available to us. Now, if you're saying that if you're a pessimist, then make sure you have at least 6 months. And if you're a real pessimist, then make sure you have a year's worth of expenses available to you. But that doesn't mean that you stop investing. You're still investing, participating in your retirement plan. You're still actively participating in buying opportunities each month gradually. But if you are, if your risk tolerance is very low and you don't like volatility at all, you want to make sure that you've invested in realizing that what is put in risk exposure investments such as stocks, then you make sure that that's not the money that you're going to need to pay your bills within the next 3 or 6 months, right? They're long-term investments. So you need to know your risk tolerance and make sure that you know your time horizon for your financial goals, right? And then a fifth point is to look at your life. Look at your specific life and think about what is the worst thing that could happen for you. Regardless, look at your life, your finances, what you have and how it is invested. And according to what you have, what is the worst thing that could happen and how would it impact you and your family and those who you take care of? And make sure that you protect you and your family. Just make sure that you consider all of these things and most importantly, that if you have proper protection, you're well diversified, you have your emergency fund, you definitely should be considering having insurance products. If you're very conservative, making sure that you have life insurance protection, but these have nothing to do with what political party is in the White House. I'm talking about good basic financial advice that you should have. So what am I saying here? That there's no evidence that any political party is going to help your investment portfolio any more than the others. Look at the numbers. Just break it down. It's gone up during some political parties. It's gone down during some political parties. It's gone up during others. So it's just that you need to make sure that you focus on yourself. Regardless of what the news says, regardless of how much the news is imposing what's important for them to get across to you, and if you see it as negativity, then realize that you need to bring it forward and make sure that you focus on yourself. You need to acknowledge what is going on in every political environment all the time, how the financial markets are performing. But most importantly, you need to avoid making emotional decisions. So don't allow short-term changes to impact your long-term financial goals. I am J.B. Bryan, and that's Afroeconomics. #Afroeconomics. That's politics and your money. Get empowered. Today's podcast was powered by J.B. Bryan Financial Group, a registered investment advisory firm and the home of Afroeconomics in Virginia, Maryland, Washington, D.C., and New York.